So this is my process in making a card. First thing I'm trying to do is make a strip, and I thread it underneath so that there's a little bit of motion. I was kind of surprised how little motion there was. You should experiment with it, but I made a strip, put it underneath a sort of a buckle, and now I'm taping on a couple of the LEDs, both green, both with the positive on the left side and negative on the right, and you'll see why that's important in a minute. And as you can see sort of faintly, I drew in white pencil on the blue background of the card where the circuits are going to be. So that little bit of planning is important. First thing I did was connect the two negative sides of both LEDs back to the negative side of the battery. So that's taken care of. The switch won't act on the negative side of the circuit, only the positive. I paused here because even though it's in high speed mode, it took a while for me to figure out how I want to lay this out. It was also during this process that I really started to value the silver fabric tape as opposed to the copper foil tape. It just is easier to work with. So I tucked one of the tapes from the positive side of the upper LED underneath the sliding tab, and you can see it turns on when you push it. Battery's in position. Now I need to get the other one to work. I want them both to light up at the same time when I open the switch. How would you do that? So that initial idea didn't really work because I ended up shorting out the upper switch and just the lower one was on all the time. And now I'm going to just bridge between the two of them. So it didn't really want to stay down. I needed a strap over the top to kind of retain it and make sure there's good contact. And then I wanted to cover all this up. So my idea was fireflies in a jar. So I took some of the translucent tracing paper, cut it in the shape of a mason jar, and put a lid on it. And that way you couldn't really see the circuitry underneath, but you could see when the fireflies turned on. Again, drawing everything out in advance, make sure it fits. And I ended up using two sheets, one over the top of each other, because I wanted it to be a little harder to see the circuitry. And then that was going to be the top of the mason jar. In the end, it sort of sticks out of the card at the top of the bottom, which I'm not super thrilled about, but... And then I use the glue tape to hold it down in a couple places. And then I wrote my message on the front and on the inside with a white marker. And a moonlight scene. Just a doodle, basically. So you open it, and the fireflies, it kind of works perfectly that the connection is kind of good, but not 100%, and that's where you get that nice flickering effect.